and welcome back to our homestead. It's been a while since I recorded the video. I apologize. It's been very busy here on the homestead. So this is busy because it's also berry season and we have a ton of blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries. Look at them, beautiful berries. So it comes a question, what should we do with it, right? It's so much of it right now. It's just abundance. But you know my motto, when it's in abundance today, we do what? We store away for tomorrow. Because right now it's fresh, eat it, bake with it, it's delicious. Just go out there and start picking from the bushes and just eat, stuff your mouth with it. It's so delicious. It's full of delicious, good nutrients and low in glycemic index, so it's good for even people with diabetes. But you know, right now it's a lot of it, but in the winter time, don't rely on going to the supermarket to buy things that were removed from a bush, who knows where, being ripened on a truck with acid. It's not the same thing. It's not in season. It's not the same thing. So preserve it. That's the best way. So I decided to preserve my berries in different ways. And I have made jams with strawberries, with blueberries, with raspberries, you name it, I've done it. And I can put different links on the bottom of the description how I make those jams. And I have made jams where there was no cooking involved, just lots of sugar, which acts as a preservative with the berry. And again, it's wonderful throughout the season. So this time I've decided to do something a little bit different. Number one, I've decided to take some of my raspberries, unwashed, just make sure they clean, no bugs, no stems, no leaves, no grass, nothing. And I put it on the cookie sheet with a parchment paper in almost a single layer. And they're gonna go in my freezer overnight, at least overnight, but maybe even 12, 14 hours. And then tomorrow, when they're hard, frozen little pebbles, I will bring them back and I'll put them in individual packaging, either a freezer bag, Ziploc bag, or a food saver bag where you can remove all the oxygen. And you can put them in different portions, whatever you like. And then in the winter months, you can take them out, add them to the smoothie. You can add them to your pancakes. You can make syrup for your pancakes. You can do whatever you like with it, okay? And they're gonna preserve the best amount of nutrients for the winter months, okay? Freezing is great. Now, that's gonna be my raspberries. My blueberries, some of my blueberries and some of my blackberries, I'm gonna turn them into a non-child-like beverage. They're gonna have a little bit of alcohol in them. So, I've done this before and I use very simple ingredients and I turn berries into wine and it's wonderful and it's delicious. So, right here, let me just push this aside. Ooh, I'm gonna show you what I've got. All right, here in this large pot, I have what looks like liquid, and I just started a few hours ago, so it really hasn't started fermentation yet. These are blueberries, okay? I have 2 pounds of blueberries here with 2 quarts of water that is in a large container. See how I gave a lot of space because it's going to begin to ferment and it's going to rise, so you have to give space. And it's gonna start the first process of fermentation. It's gonna be blueberry wine and it's going to take several months, so it's going to be multiple videos I can post later, but I just want to show you what you can do when you have abundance, okay? So blueberry wine, and then I'm going to be turning some of my blackberries into blackberry wine. All right, so let me show you how I'm going to do it. All right, so we're going to start by weighing in the berries. And I'm gonna say this, it's easier for me if I do this in a metric system, but I will attempt to convert it also into a American household system as well. So in here I have 1 kilo. Let me weigh in more. Okay, 0 that. And I'm going to weigh in more because it's easier. Oops. Making a mess. Come on, baby. Go in there. I'm gonna have to pick all these runaways. Okay, so here's another. Oops, it's everywhere. All right, so here's another pound. Kilo, excuse me. was a straggler. All right, so we have almost 3 kilos. So I'm gonna be doing this, I guess, in kilos. Pause. All right, well, this container will be too small because, I'll show you what I mean. This container will be too small because once it begins to ferment, it can rise. It will rise, as a matter of fact. Plus, I'm going to be adding water. So this container is too small, and because of that, I decided to use my big 5-gallon food grade bucket, and I'm going to be doing the fermentation of this wine in this big bucket. So let me just put everything in there, hopefully without making a lot of mess. So this is 3 kilos of berries, okay? So next step is I need to break up these berries. Oh, very important thing I forgot to say. The berries cannot be washed. The berries cannot be washed. It's very important, okay? See, when the grapes, the berries grow outside, they naturally have wild yeast on their skins, okay? And if you wash them, it will be destroyed. So my wine will have 3 ingredients: the berry, the water, and the sugar. That's it. No stabilizers, no flavors, no yeast added, nothing. It's going to have literally 3 ingredients: the berry of my choice, the water, clean filtered water, unchlorinated water, and good sugar. That's it. All right, and time. Obviously, you need lots and lots of time. Wine needs time. So now I need to break all these berries up, okay? And now the old-fashioned way, I can break them with my hands or whatever, but you know what? I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna be using a blender, and that's what I'm gonna do. Let me plug it in, and we're gonna use a blender. So I'm gonna use a blender, just break them all up, okay, and marry them all together. So that is done. It's a beautiful pulverized mass. All right, I'll put this to the camera so you guys can see it. It's probably going to destroy my beautiful brand new 5-gallon bucket, but it's okay. Now to this, all pulverized, I'm going to be adding water. We have well water. But if you don't have good quality water, filtered water is best. It's not boiled. I do not boil water. So there are some recipes out there that will tell you to boil water first and then cool it off and use it. I just use it from my well, room temperature water, and that's it. How much water? All right, so again, in the metric system, in the metric measurements, for each kilo of berries, you need 1.2 liters of water, okay? 1.2 liters of water. For my blueberries, I'm using a little bit less water, but for blackberries, I'm going to be using a little bit more water. So for blackberries, for each kilo of berry, I'm going to be using 1.2 liter and 200 mLs of cool, regular temperature water, clean water. And all I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna mix everything together. All right, and now I'm gonna let it sit and do its thing and do its first quick fermentation. I'm not adding sugar right now. The sugar will be added later, but right now I'm gonna throw a towel, something over, so because I don't want the bugs to get in, but yet I want it to breathe. Okay? So in case you're asking me why did I put a cover to my blueberries, I put a cover because there's a tiny little hole. I don't know if you can see, there's a tiny little hole. So that will allow it to release the air and stuff and move air around. So now it's gonna sit and ferment. So let's talk about the first wave of fermentation. It needs warmth. Great, it's summer right now, it's nice and hot in the house, so it's perfect for fermentation. And it can be as early as first 3 or 4 days, or it may take longer, especially if you have air conditioning running in your house. It may take up to a week, 7, 8 days even. And what you're gonna start seeing is that all of the seeds and skins, they're gonna start coming up to the surface, and they're gonna create like a hat-like substance at the time. So you need to take a big spoon, and you need to turn it, you need to stir it 2-3 times every day. 2-3 times every day. You just stir that. Like, just let it do its thing. Let it sit and mellow and ferment, okay? And then after those few days, and you're gonna start smelling that very fragrant, almost like a berry-like fermented smell, like a yeasty smell. You're gonna start getting that. At that point, we're going to strain everything. You're gonna need to use a strainer, cheesecloth. We're gonna strain it. And this is going to be a good time for you to find a different vessel. You're going to need a different vessel where you're going to be straining into. So if you can find one of those old-fashioned wine big jugs, that will be perfect. Or anything else that will be large enough that will allow fermentation to happen, but with a bottleneck. Now listen, we're a homestead here. We're not a fancy place where you have the special valves and all of that. No, none of that. So I'm just gonna be using an old-fashioned glass bottle that fermentation will taking place, and I'm gonna use a glove. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I have been using. Just regular surgical glove that I'm gonna stick on the top, where it's gonna allow for the gas to escape. But I'm going ahead of myself. Right now, it's just gonna sit in my kitchen, in a nice warm kitchen. I'm gonna throw a towel over this, and I'm gonna sit and ferment for the next 3-4 days, and I'll see you guys later.